Now let's look at Unit 3, Blue Jeans. I'm going to read the text. Please read along with me in your minds. Okay? Now let's move to page 76. Writing. Sensible writing. Sensibility in general refers to an acute perception of a given situation or issue and the most appropriate responses to them. Writing sensibly means that you have a clear understanding of the complex issue in focus. You examine it from multiple angles and take an unbiased perspective. You then develop your argument logically based on credible sources of evidence, statistics, and other supporting details. Here are some techniques to write sensibly. Understand the given task completely. Read each keyword cautiously, identify connotations of words, and decipher any underlying interpretations and ideologies. Okay, this means you have to first understand your task well. Don't just start writing. Okay, understand what you need to write. What is the task that is given to you, or what is your intention, right? Then read each keyword cautiously, carefully, and identify connotations of words. What are connotations? Extended meanings of words. Okay, one word can have several meanings. Okay, so identify those meanings. Be careful about the words that you use. And decipher any underlying interpretations and ideologies. You must be able to see if there's any underlying interpretation, something that is not directly given. Okay, that's the first point. Second, read multiple sources of information on the given issue. Be aware that most issues have different and sometimes conflicting perspectives. Examine underlying assumptions, theoretical rationale, and motives. Make sure to verify the authenticity of information you read. Okay, so you read multiple sources of information on the given issue. Don't just stick to one source. Look at various sources so that you have a complete idea of what you're going to write about. Be aware that most issues have different and sometimes conflicting perspectives. So you should look at it from all angles, from all perspectives. Examine underlying assumptions. Okay, look at them carefully, all the assumptions, the theoretical rationale and motives. And make sure to verify the authenticity of information you read. You cannot take all sources of information as part of your piece of writing. Okay, there are certain things that are taken as, you cannot take them seriously. For example, if you get information from the internet, from ask.com, everybody writes there. So you can't get information from there. Okay, it can probably help you understand a thing better. But you cannot take that information seriously. You have to refer to textbooks, journals, and official websites. Right? So you have to get information from authentic sources. Number 3, be clear about your perspective on the issue. Try to be as unbiased as possible. If there are multiple perspectives, present all of them. Make it clear to your readers that you are looking at the issue from all sides. Okay? Ensure that you look at an idea from all sides. Don't be biased. The readers must be sure that you're not being biased. Okay? Next, support your arguments with credible details such as experts' opinions, research articles and reports, authentic statistics, etc. Yes? You can't just make statements. You have to show proof. Okay? So you have to support your arguments with credible, believable, dependable details. Okay? Such as opinions from experts in that field. Okay? And from research articles and reports and authentic statistics, etc. The emphasis is on authentic. Statistics doesn't mean true. Anybody can come up with anything. Okay? So you have to go to authentic sources for statistics too. Next, do not make unverifiable claims or hasty generalizations. Meaning, when you say something, it should be verifiable, right? And don't make hasty generalizations. Generalizing without, taking everything into consideration is dangerous. Okay? Stay away from that. Your supporting details should logically lead to the conclusions. That means don't include any details that would go against the conclusion that you're trying to make. Okay? Get information or include information that supports your conclusion. Okay? Don't use conflicting ideas. Yeah? Everything should be directed towards the conclusion that you want to make. Okay? That doesn't mean you lie. What I mean is, don't give unnecessary information that can confuse the reader. Okay? Next, beware of logical fallacies such as personal attacks, improper reasoning, etc. So in your writing, you cannot make any personal attacks. You can't say this person is like that, that writer is like this. No, we don't have the right to do that. Okay? So be very careful about that. When you reason something, it should be logical. Okay? Not improper, not illogical. Next, be open to criticism. Accept opposing views and modify your views if necessary. It is very important to be open to criticism. It is possible that we are wrong. It is possible that things change while we are working on a certain subject. So we should be able to take those changes, okay, and modify our views. Right, let's move to definition. Definitions are an integral part of academics. In science and technology, or in humanities and social sciences, several domain-specific terms are used. These are defined so that the others understand what these terms mean. For instance, existentialism. Existentialism is a technical term in philosophy. Sometimes words which are used in the public domain in general context are used in a specific sense in academic contexts. For instance, we use the term gravity in everyday life to mean seriousness, but in physics it has a more specific definition. In such cases too, a proper definition helps readers understand in what sense the specific term is being used. What is a definition then? A definition generally has three parts, namely the technical term, broad category, and distinguishing features. A definition helps identify features that distinguish a term from other closely related terms by establishing its boundaries. Let's look at some examples. Here we have some terms, their broad categories, and distinguishing features. The first one is a drone. A drone is a small aircraft without a pilot. This is the broad category. Okay, that it is a small aircraft without a pilot. Then let's move on to the distinguishing features of a drone, which is controlled automatically from the ground and is used for monitoring, surveillance, or delivery of goods. Okay, so these are the distinguishing features of a drone. First, you have the term, okay, a drone. Then you have the broad category, and then you have the distinguishing features. Next, to saute. To saute is to cook meat, vegetables, or fruit in some kind of fat such as oil, ghee, or butter. This is the broad category. Now, distinguishing features. Slowly, okay, this is to do that. I mean, it is to saute is to cook meat, vegetables, or fruits in some kind of fat such as oil, ghee, or butter slowly till the ingredients become light brown. So it is not just cooking meat, vegetables, or fruits in oil or some kind of fat. It is doing it slowly till the ingredients become light brown. Okay, those are the distinguishing features of sauteing. Okay, we're on page 77 now. In a definition, you can give details of important features of an object or a phenomenon. Example, as in the case of a drone above. Briefly explain what a device does or how something happens. For example, as in the case of to saute above. Define an abstract term using examples. For example, a black hole is like a giant suction machine which does not even allow light. Or make categories and define each one with examples. For example, a good student is the one who is hardworking, creative, and interested. Define a new term with the help of a more familiar one. For example, defining ransomware by comparing it with kidnapping. Or say clearly what a term does not mean or cover. For example, freedom does not mean absolute freedom. Okay, so in a definition, you can give all these details of important features. While writing definitions, avoid the following mistakes. Circular definitions, that is, repeating the same thing without clarifying the terms. For example, a psychiatrist is a physician who practices psychiatry. How can anybody understand that? Yeah, the term that you want to explain is psychiatrist, and you're using it in the definition, so people will not be able to understand. You're not explaining it enough. So avoid using that term in the definition, the term that you want to explain or define. Okay. Next, overly broad. It must not be overly broad. It must not include only broad category and omit distinguishing features. That means it should have both. For example, a platypus is a mammal, is an overly broad definition. That is not enough to understand what a platypus is. Okay, so you need to add some distinguishing features. It shouldn't be overly narrow, including only one or two aspects of a term, leaving out other details. For example, a kitchen blender is a bladed appliance used to chop vegetables. So here you have two features, but it is not complete. There are other things that we need to include for the reader to understand this concept, this word well, right? Then we have omission of main category, that is not including the main category. For example, a dhaba is where food is served. This is not enough. The main category is missing here. You could say a dhaba is a small restaurant, okay, where food is served. And you can also include where dhabas are located generally. Okay, so if you say a dhaba is where food is served, it could be somebody's home. So this is not enough. Okay, you need to add some information to it. Right, now task 16. Define the following terms. You may refer to a dictionary for help. Please do this on your own and then we will discuss.